Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel for another big review. This one is for Taika Waititi's Thor: Love and Thunder. When the movie kicks off, Chris Hemsworth's Thor is suffering through just a bit of an identity crisis. He's kind of aimless at this point. But when he comes to learn that Christian Bale's Gorr the God Butcher now wields the Necrosword, he finds himself back in Asgard and teaming up with Tessa Thompson Valkyrie and Natalie Portman returning as Jane Foster in order to take him down. One of my absolute favorite qualities of this movie is that it is Taika Waititi through and through. He is just one of the best when it comes to embracing irreverence and a really wacky sense of humor, but while also infusing his films with heart and real purpose. But before I get into the thematic success of this film, we do really have to dig into that comedy because it's almost nonstop throughout this movie, and I still can't believe how many jokes landed for me. Given how many there are in the film, you would just assume that a certain amount of them inevitably would fall flat, but not only do a majority of them really earn a hearty laugh, but the ones that don't play as well as those still work as well as they need to because of how strong the tone and the pace of this movie are throughout. I really do think that Waititi is one of the absolute best things to happen to this character in the MCU. And now between this movie and Ragnarok, it just seems like Hemsworth totally gets and excels with Waititi's filmmaking sensibilities. He just gets his sense of humor and knows exactly how to deliver those lines to earn the laugh while also making the dialogue still feel true to Thor. Before I veer away from the comedy of it all, I do have to point out one specific thing because I cannot believe how well the screaming goats work in this movie. I was just absolutely sure that that was going to be something that I would grow tired of very fast, but every single time I heard them, I was tickled. And there's one thing that happens with them in particular. I want to say it's about 2/3 of the way into the film that sparked such a big laugh in me that I almost did not recover from it, where I was like almost messing with myself by replaying the moment minutes after it happened and just basically sat there trying real damn hard not to laugh out loud anymore because the moment had come and gone. All right, let's get into the rest of the cast now. It is also an especially big delight watching Natalie Portman have so much fun with what they do with Jane Foster in this movie. I always thought that she did exactly what she needed to do in the role, given the material that she had in the past films, but there is absolutely no denying that that character pops so much bigger than ever and gives Portman the opportunity to show off her range to the max. It is kind of similar to what happened to Hemsworth's Thor. He was really great with what he had in Thor and Thor: The Dark World, but when Waititi stepped in, it kind of felt like Hemsworth was let loose in a way, and that's also what it feels like for Portman in this movie. So yes, she does seem to be having loads of fun herself, but she also does a pretty brilliant job in letting the viewer share in the thrill of Jane Foster becoming the Mighty Thor. But on top of that, and what I think is one of the most impressive parts of her performance is she does that, but without ever letting you forget the reality of her situation. And the combination of the two makes Jane's story so much more than just a good time watching Jane go on an adventure. The whole thing means something deep and just so much more to her, and you can really feel it while you're watching her in this film. As for Tessa Thompson, I always love her as Valkyrie, and I think she has some especially strong beats with Portman in particular in this movie, but I really would not have minded a more beefed up role for that character. Her being the leader of New Asgard is a really big deal, and while the movie does offer up maybe a light sense of her day-to-day, how she feels about the work she's doing, and what some of her goals are, it did feel like there was a whole lot more to mine in that department in particular. All right, now for, I guess, the last of the main characters in the film. Christian Bale is exceptional as Gorr. This right here is how you transform and you lose yourself in a role. The makeup does look great, but it is so much more than that. Mere seconds into his first appearance on screen in this movie, Knowing that that was Bale just completely vanished. And like Portman's performance, Bale has this really exciting challenge of juggling two qualities of Gorr's simultaneously, and his ability to do so makes him an especially strong villain. He is an outright menace, doing these awful things and seemingly enjoying them, and Bale is able to show that off, but he does it while never letting you forget the foundation that the movie establishes for the character, making sure that you do always feel that terror, but never without the weight of his heartbreak and how that fuels his hatred in this movie. All right, briefly for supporting characters, Waititi is excellent as Korg, who I thought was especially well used in this film. His recap/narrations are hilarious and hugely successful tone setters, and also very, very enjoyable ways of presenting exposition. This next one feels a little funny to say, but I also think that Stormbreaker wound up being one of my absolute favorite characters in this movie. I mean it, you'll understand when you see it. And also, I would say that all of the cameos that you know are coming, they're great. They're well crafted and they're very, very memorable. Jumping into the visuals of the movie now, I thought this movie was stunning. The character designs, the striking pops of color, there's a really mesmerizing black and white sequence that I loved. It's all oozing with distinct style and creativity, and it's style and creativity that serves a purpose, more so than just looking cool. Now, this next point, I guess it's more of a script thing, but one thing I did catch myself thinking of quite a bit was that even though this story is big and the situation could have wide-scale ramifications, something about it still felt kind of small to me. And on the one hand, I do think that that served the more intimate elements, like Jane and Thor's connection, quite well here, but there's something about the narrower focus, or maybe it was more so the fact that the world and the universe's ties to what happens go unacknowledged, that it felt a little off to me. On the one hand, decisions that certain individuals make in the movie do kind of justify that in the story, but there are also other things where I think it could have strengthened the overall experience to at least get a sense of how the larger population responded to certain attacks and deaths. I think it's a little more of a hindsight thing for me, though. I've been thinking about after having seen the movie. It's not really something that impacted my viewing experience while sitting in the theater, though, but it is something I've been thinking about, so I wanted to point that out. Ultimately, though, I was very honest about what I said in my tweet about my face hurting, because if I wasn't laughing out loud, I had a big old dumb grin on my face throughout this movie from top to bottom. So I am going to go ahead and give Thor Love and Thunder 4 Deweys out of 5 on the Dewey Decimovie scale. This movie is a damn good time with maximum energy, an A+ soundtrack, and hugely entertaining performances. And another big winning quality of Thor Love and Thunder for me is that I found it to be absolutely oozing with good vibes. It's essentially a movie that highlights and celebrates the value of human connection and what we're capable of when we're there for one another. And when your movie is highlighting themes and ideas like that in such a vibrant, highly enjoyable way, you are gonna make me a happy moviegoer. And that's exactly how I walked out of this screening. Happy, hopeful, and energized. All right, I'm going to leave you there on Thor Love and Thunder. You know what I like you to do. If and when you see the movie, hit the comment section below. It also always feels necessary to point it out on big franchise movies where there's a lot of investment in them out there. I love when you guys tell me about your opinions, even when they're different than mine. All I ask is that you express your opinions respectfully in this comment section. That's what this channel is about, creating a safe space to discuss the movies and shows we love. So help me uphold that. All right, Patreon shout out time now. A wonderful group of 12 right here. They are Billy, Ian, Nathan, Logan, Luke, Avery, Christy, Andrew, Tommy, MK Songbird, John Gregory, and Donovan. I see a whole lot of longtime members of the Patreon team right there, and I cannot express how grateful I am to all of you, seriously, from the bottom of my heart. I love what I do so much, and you are instrumental to helping me do all of this and keep it all up and running. So thank you so much for your continued support. It means a lot and it's a huge help. Big thank you to everybody out there watching this review. Do not forget to like and share it, and I will be back soon with more of them.